Do you struggle at the net? You feel uncomfortable when you get up there? You probably avoid it. Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to stop doing that, because the thing that's probably holding you back is not having a complete game. Maybe you have a good forehand or backhand, but you realize when you come in the net, you don't feel comfortable, and your opponents pick up on that, and they make you hit passing shots or more volleys, where then you pop it up and they put it away, and you feel dejected, you stay back. But that's not the answer, because if you want to get to the next level, you have to have a complete game, or at least not have a lot of holes. So let's make sure the net's not one of them. So the very first concept that I want you to understand that everything is going to be based around is that all a volley is a push. And you're like, a push? What do you mean? Well, let's think about something for a second. And I want you to keep this concept in your mind, a push. What do you need to do to push? So the analogy I love to use with players is, if you're pushing on a wall, how would you push on a wall? Well, would you have your arms in here like this? No, you'd have your arms out here like this. Would you just push with your arms? No, you'd push with your legs. And you notice that the power transfer of this push happens when I'm pushing, but when I land, guess what? The power is gone. So you're probably thinking, how does this relate to a volley? Well, I'm gonna show you exactly how it relates to a volley and how it can improve your volley when you understand this. So let's first talk about the number one thing that could be breaking down in your push, and that's the grip. And some people say you should have a continental grip. I've said you should have a continental grip. Some people say you should switch your grip from having more of like almost like a slight Eastern grip, not a full Eastern grip, but a more continental slight Eastern grip, and switch it over here. Honestly, I don't care. Either one. Here is the fundamental thing I think of, is stability in the grip for your volley. And so what that means is, a continental grip gives you relatively good stability on your forehand and backhand, meaning I can go forehand and backhand. Where people feel that the continental grip breaks down, it's on the backhand side. It's not as strong. And so what they tend to do sometimes is they take their grip and turn it over just a little bit. And so if you're wondering what a continental grip is, if I hold my racket like this, and I take this V and I'm gonna come straight down. So this pad is on this second bevel here, and that's a continental grip. And you can feel why this is important, because this pad is the most important part. This little area right here allows you to have stability. If I take my finger and push, I can push that pad forward. And so in a continental grip, the pad's on the second bevel, and when it's turned, my racket's turned, my pad's slightly behind. And this may also be why you're in the process of using this grip. You wanna know why you like this grip? Because guess what? The pad's behind the string so you can push. But then you go to this side and you're like, well, my pad's on this side, Kevin, what do? There's another pad for the backhand side. You have this for your forehand, and this little hook on your backhand, when I put my racket here, helps secure it a little bit. But here's the thing, that's not the only place you want to start securing your grip. But I just want you to understand that. So if you want to have a continental grip, I can have a continental grip like this, and I can also use that hook to support my continental grip on my backhand side. If you want to switch, because it puts the pad behind the strings a little bit more, boom, and then you want to switch, which puts the hook behind the strings a little bit more, boom. Now here's my only, not disclaimer, but what I feel in this situation. When I'm in a quick situation, I don't want to be switching grips. That's me personally. Some people do it. If I have a little bit more time, let's say I'm running and hitting a volley out of the air, I might have my pad a little bit more behind the racket, and then switch it a little bit over here to have my pad a little bit more behind the racket to add that little bit of stability. But it's not the end all be all of having stability on your racket. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about alignment. You're probably thinking, what do I mean by alignment? Alignment is how we place our hands in front of us to volley. Now I'm gonna do it without my racket for a second so you can see how this relates. If we go back to our analogy of the wall, and I put my hands here like this is how I would push. Just try it right now. If you're somewhere where you can push on something, just push and feel the strength. And the strength comes because my shoulder is behind my hand in general. Now this is kind of directly behind, you can see this alignment. I can still have it out here, I could push on a wall like this, but watch what happens. As my hands go wider, my shoulders aren't behind my hand, and therefore I can't push with my body. So now I'd have to use a weaker muscle like my arm. And that's the thing, when we're pushing, we're gonna use big muscles. So we have to have this alignment here. So how do we keep that when we're volleying? So this is what most people do here, but the problem is, look where my hands are. They're not aligned with my shoulder. And so what I want you to start doing is turning your shoulder to align it better. So I can keep my hand right here, and if I turn my shoulders and lay my racket back just a little bit, look what happens. My shoulder is still in line with my hand, therefore I can push. We're building the strong structure that you can push through the ball. So it's not like when you swing it feels like it breaks, it feels solid, okay? You can see how that lines up. Now, watch what happens if I take my racket back without my shoulder. Boom, and now I have to muscle. Now, the problem with that, we'll talk about later, is the racket face. We get a ton of different racket faces instead of isolating that racket face to be what we want. Okay, same thing on the backhand side. Now it's a little different on the backhand side. We're going to turn probably even more and almost have the shoulder like it's a cannon, boom, facing at you. Because if you think about it, if I had a wall here and I can push here. This feels solid. Now start to measure where it doesn't feel solid. If it's way out in front, I'm just pushing with my upper body. If it's too far back, my body goes forward. So the very first drill we want to do to put everything together is understand how do we get from the ready position to getting turned. Once we understand that, all we need to do is deliver force. One more thing that's crucial is understanding the racket face, which we're not going to go into a lot of detail, but understanding generally wherever the racket face is facing, that's going to give you the feedback to tell you where you want to hit the ball. So the very first thing I want to do is get in a good athletic position. An athletic position is super important to being explosive and getting out of the gates. So from here, we want to have a nice wide stance with a racket, I like to say, coming across. Personal preference, I think it's a lot more efficient than actually having a racket like this. Because if I get a backhand now, I can just do a slight turn and I can easily handle balls coming to my body compared to having come back here. So from here, what I want to do is when the ball comes to my forehand side, I'm going to turn my shoulder. A great drill for this is just keeping your palm or your wrist together. And all I'm going to do is turn my shoulder slightly. Now you're probably saying that's not enough, Kevin. So when I get the secondary turn is I'm going to lay my wrist back, and then by moving just a turn, a step, you can see how my racket face is facing straight forward. And this is important. So what you want to do is practice and go split and out. And from here, I'm doing almost like a pivot step off my outside leg because I'm hitting a forehand. So split and pivot out. Split and pivot out. In the process of pivoting, I'm loading weight. So if you saw it from the side angle, you're going to see split and pivot. My weight's loaded here, and if I want to swing, I'm going to push forward. Okay? So practice this motion or this action where you're going split, pivot, my weight's on this leg, and I'm going to push forward. And the contact will be between this. Split, pivot, contact, boom. If we want to do the backhand, it's the exact same thing. With my racket here, I'm going to actually pronate on the backhand versus supinate on the forehand. So I split, I'm on this outside leg, which is my left leg now, and I'm turning, and now I push, okay? You can see both sides, my swing is very minimal. The next thing we need to start talking about is delivering force, and there's two ways you can do this. Actually, sorry, there's one way you can do this, but two sets of footwork you can use to do this. And so what do I mean is delivering or transferring weight is that I'm just going to push my weight forward. And you can see this, I'm pushing my weight forward. Now think about this. If I'm pushing my weight forward, when does the push stop? I push, boom. The moment my foot touches down, there's no more power. I got to pick it up, reset, reload. So the idea is load and push, okay? Load and push. So the power that I'm going to deliver to the ball in a second is right here when I've loaded and I'm pushing. That's the power. When I hit the ground, no more power. You're done. Now that's one way. I call it step, hit, step. So I'm stepping or really load, hitting, boom, step. So now the best drill, I think, to get you started on making sure that you have a very smooth transition when volleying is we're going to work on walking through the ball. Walking is a great way to transition your weight through the ball. And so all I'm going to do is have my structure set up, meaning that I'm going to go ahead and do my turn with my shoulder slightly turned, and you can see how my hand is lined up with my shoulder, still with some room to move. From here, I'm just going to start walking forward and line it up. So I have the ball machine set up, walking forward. And you can see right here, I don't have to do that much. Very minimal swing, because what I'm doing is I'm walking through the ball and transferring my weight forward. On the backhand side, we're going to set it up and do the exact same thing. I have a solid structure. Now here's the thing that kind of messes up a lot of people on the backhand side. We either start running with the racket too far in front or too far behind. We want to find that nice structure, I like to say, where the racket's somewhere around the center to edge of your shoulder, meaning it keeps, if the racket's here, the arm slightly in front and it lines up with that shoulder we were talking about before. So I also have that pad in the back to create that security. One of the most important key things, if you don't take away anything from this whole video, is if you hit the ball in the sweet spot, in the center, it's 100% different feel than if you hit on the side. Okay, so now we see how the structure is set up on both sides. So as I'm moving forward, I can hit a forehand or a backhand. Now from here, what we want to do is time our legs better, meaning that as we're moving forward, there's going to be a moment when I see the ball and my front foot's going to load to push more. Right now you can see how I'm not delivering a lot of force because I'm just walking through the ball. But as I load more and then push through the ball, you're going to see a lot more pop on the volley. And so Let's try it. I'm gonna do it on my forehand side. Now, because of this, I'm gonna have to time it a little bit better because I can't see when the person's about to swing and step and split step. So you're gonna see me hesitate a little bit, but then load my leg and then go forward. As I hit that ball, I got into position, loaded, and pushed through the ball. Same thing on the backhand side. You're gonna see the difference is there, but you can see me gathering my legs to a point of boom, I'm loading, and then pushing forward. Gather my legs, pushing forward. And this is how you learn how to transition through volleys. Now, the last volley technique we're gonna work on is just a shift. And the shift is generally when you're playing doubles, you're probably already at the net. Maybe you don't need to move forward as much. And so how that would look is when the ball comes, I'm gonna keep my weight on my back foot. I'm gonna go ahead and set up like this. So if I were to turn here, but you can see how my weight's on my back foot. So if I got a ball, I'd keep my weight on my back foot. You see I'm shifting forward. So a great drill to help you practice the shift is just rocking back and forth with the timing of the ball machine. So I'm gonna have to wait for the first one, boom, I'm just gonna rock. See if I can get it right. So you see how I had to kind of stutter there just to get this shift. And you can see how I'm hitting a good volley just on shifting my weight. Same thing on the backhand side. I can do the exact same thing. Shift, okay? Looks like I'm dancing out here. But I'm shifting my weight. If you want me to make a video on the 3 different types of volleys, this is one-ish, I would say, meaning that how to hit a side spin volley, which is really important when the ball is low, how to hit a flat attacking volley, and how to hit a knifing volley that stays low. These are all volleys that the pros use in different situations to give you more variety. If you want to know more about those 3 types of volleys, leave a comment below and I'll make a video about that.